I thought today would be the perfect day to do a little bit of an update on Skeletor.
Come on, Teddy.
I know a lot of you guys are anxious to see him with the new horse, but I'm starting to think that maybe Skeletor is going to spend a lot of the spring and summer by himself.
Come on, Skelly. Don't do it.
He has been getting turned out in the morning and then again in the evening for a few hours to eat some pasture. In order for Skeletor to stay as calm as possible and help heal his leg, he's going out on little mini pastures. It is crazy how much the grass has grown over the last couple of days.
Hooray!
We do still have quite a bit of snow on the mountains, but it is really starting to look like spring out here. The other horses are still only going out on pasture for less than an hour in the morning. This grass that Skeletor is grazing is a Kentucky bluegrass mostly, and it's just starting to have the seed heads pop out. Most of the other pastures is a combination of timothy, orchard grass, fescue, and ryegrass. The areas that Skeletor will be grazing is just basic lawn grass, so that's why it's a little bit different than the established pastures. Here you can see with tiny for size how tall the grass has actually gotten. It is the perfect height for her to sneak around and pounce on gophers, which she's been doing a lot more of. As soon as Skeletor gets turned out on the pasture for the spring, he really starts to turn his nose up at any hay that I offer him. He does require a lot more calories than the other horses because he's so big and a little bit of a different breed, so it's important that he gets as much pasture as he wants this time of year. He is getting a lot more muscle, and he does have this old scar area. When I very first got him, he had a few sticks embedded in that muscle that he had to get removed, and it seems like it's healing up pretty well, and I don't feel any additional sticks. This area did really seem to bother him before the sticks were removed. I think he's annoyed that I'm pestering him while he's trying to eat his grass. One of the things that I am worried about with him and Ziggy being turned out together is Ziggy is probably not going to be able to be on free choice grass for the summer. His blood work did come back with some elevated numbers that are probably going to prevent him from being out on grass all the time. I have been introducing Ziggy to grass over around the quarantine area, and he's been tolerating it quite well. This time of year I do get a lot of calls on lame horses that the owners are selling or they can't handle anymore, and a lot of times it's due to them turning them out on grass too quickly. It is extremely important to do this gradually, especially if you have a horse that is sensitive to the sugars in the grass. Skeletor usually sneaks little tastes of grass before I can get him out, and this year he rubbed out a giant patch of his mane. Prim also has been sticking her head through the fence getting snacks, rubbing out her mane. I've only been hand grazing Studman so far this year. He is another one that is extremely sensitive to the grasses. He was foundered when I bought him, so I am still extremely careful about how much I let him out on the grass. Skeletor is going to get to be out on grass this evening for a few hours while I feed the other horses and do chores. This sunshiny day was such a relief after all of the snow we've been getting lately. It is particularly windy today, but I'm going to go ahead and check on the boys and see how they're doing. With all of the extra moisture, these horses have been rolling around on the mud and getting disgusting. Stewie was particularly disgusting today. It is quite windy out today with the gusts supposed to be getting up around 50 miles an hour, so I want to get these boys looked over pretty quickly. I fed them their hay a little bit early so they can eat it before it blows away, and then I did put a few hay bags out for them for later. Gus was not interested in me scratching him today. In addition to figuring out where Skeletor is going to be for the spring and summer, I need to figure out if any of the other horses need to be juggled around. This time of year, I do like to separate Pete and Gus. They just end up getting brought back into work a lot easier. I have been tossing around the idea of renting a few stalls at one of the local boarding barns that has an indoor, so I can actually start to ride these horses no matter what the weather. I did just find out that my quarantine pen needs to get taken down for a wedding that's happening there in the summer. That is going to mess up my plans a little bit, but I should have enough time to figure something out before that time comes. Gus is another one that does have some sensitivities to the grass. He's not that bad, but it might be good for him to be in a stall while I get him riding around again. I tried to sit down and have a little break, but Tiny wasn't having any of it. Despite the pretty intense wind this evening, it is a really nice day out. With all of the dinners dispersed, it is now time for me to gather up Skeletor and bring him inside for the night. I still have quite a bit of daylight left, but I want to go back to the quarantine barn and have time to play with Ziggy this evening as well. One of the reasons that I am a little bit hesitant to put Ziggy in with Skeletor is Ziggy really does need to be ridden. He is getting pretty bored by himself not getting to go out on trail rides anymore. He seems like the kind of horse that really enjoys something to do, otherwise he just trots along his fence all day long. Luckily for Skeletor, if I do want him to have a friend, it won't be hard for me to find another horse that needs a few months of R&R to keep him company. Skeletor did spend a lot of last summer over at the quarantine pen, so he is friends with the mayor over there. I am going to selfishly use him to mow a lot of this grass so it doesn't go to waste. As of now, I will probably not move him in the near future just so he can take care of all of this grass for me. There is no sense mowing it when Skeletor could have free food for a couple of weeks. It sounded like Tiny was having some trouble, so I gotta go check on her and see what's going on. It looks like she did catch a gopher that she left by the gate for me. She has a rather urgent meow for me every time she catches something that she thinks I need to see right away. Currently, Skeletor's pasture time is bumped up to between 4 and 6 hours every day, split between the morning and the evening. Since he is pretty smart about the electric fence, he does not get to go out on the pasture when I'm not here to keep an eye on him. He does stay pretty calm and quiet without the other horses influencing him, but I don't want him to get into any trouble if I'm not here and he gets out of the fencing. This time of year, my plans change rapidly depending on how each horse is responding to the pasture grass. Skeletor seems to be doing great by himself, so for now, I'm not going to worry too much about getting him a specific buddy. Thank you guys so much for watching and stay tuned for the next video.